Welcome to Season 2 with the Market Mystics, where we discuss and redefine markets, wealth, and trading on Earth as it is in heaven. Join us on the journey while we consider new possibilities with special guests who might just challenge a few perspectives. Get ready to dive in deep with your hosts, Joshua and Kim.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
We are back.
We are back. We were gone for the second time, our second slot of recording last week, which makes it feel like ages since we've been on.
It does. It's only a week, but it makes it feel like so much longer.
I know. We're in such a routine.
I don't know that that's a horrible thing.
It's not a horrible thing. Okay, so last week we were focusing on, so it's our last week essentially of the Action July. And if you weren't with us all through July, we were focusing on taking action on some of the spiritual concepts that we've been talking about. So the first week was being still. The second was connecting with nature. The third was connecting with ourselves. And then last week was all about connecting with others. Josh, how did that go?
Yeah, that's a good question. The thing that's coming most directly to mind is I know we talked a little bit before on the Monday meeting about how like some of the ways we've played with this before. But last night I was sitting on the couch with my wife and we'd both been on screens quite a bit and didn't really want to watch something. And so we played a game and we were just sitting on the couch talking to each other. And she goes, "What number am I thinking of?" And I just went the very first thing that I thought, and it was correct. And so she did. So I picked one and she guessed and it was correct. And then we did colors and both of us got the colors correct. And then we moved on to like animals and all these other things. And the more we did it, the more it started to drift away from being accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason is it's that subtle intuition, that first little twinge of something. And it's not this like deep thought out thing. So the more we were conscious about what we were doing, the more we were not connecting, the more it was just allowing the subtle flow to be there, the more it was correct. And I think that's like, for me, that was something to really pay attention to with her or with anyone that I'm connecting to or decisions I'm making. Is it doesn't need to be this huge thought out thing. It can just be this like you're looking for this little sign, this little feeling, this little whatever. It's not a, sometimes maybe it's a billboard on the side of the road, and sometimes maybe it's just this little feeling. And that's what I was noticing yesterday is my connection with her was just this subtle little feeling that I was paying attention to.
It's almost like it's an intention, not necessarily a strong focus. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, that's at least yesterday, that's how I was experiencing it.
That's interesting. I am going to be real honest. I had a real hard time focusing on this last week. As we talked about a week ago, I was gone for most of the week at a big conference. I was with tens of thousands of people, and the only time there was downtime was to sleep. Just truly. And I found myself like getting really caught up in the doing of everything. And I would then try to refocus on like tuning in, listening for some of those nuance. But it didn't always work. There were some moments that it did. And I thought back to what we talked about with Dr. Farney when he was on, and that the concept of being empathetic or being an empath and being just kind of tuned in to what other people are feeling. And I found myself a few times really tapping into that. So when other people were feeling really emotional or overwhelmed or some of those things, I was really tapping into that and then able to kind of step in and help share in some of that. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but that's just kind of what was happening. And I will tell you that is not my natural uh mode of operation.
Mm-hmm.
It just isn't. Um, but I didn't have any like big aha moments there. And I also think some of that comes from also naturally being introverted and um, having 4 days of nonstop social interaction and being on, those are quote fingers,
Mm.
um, also really took a lot of energy for me. I'll tell you, I got home on Saturday night, and yesterday I was just like done. I had every good intention of wanting to do things, and my body was like, nope, we're not doing that. You're not doing that. Not today. But I did have one little thing that happened yesterday, and this is such a little thing. But my daughter, whom you guys have met, I talk about her all the time. She's 7. She's like mama's girl. And they went swimming yesterday and had a great time. She came home exhausted. She went and changed out of her swimming suit and put on regular clothes. And she came out and she was dressed exactly like me, but she didn't know what I was wearing before she did it. And so it was like same shorts, same shirt, or as close to the same as you could get. And it was just, and this happens often, just one of those things. And it made me think about how sometimes, and I found this when I was in the workplace too. Like I shared an office with a bunch of people. Oftentimes, multiple people would wear the same things on the same day without planning it. And it was like, you're so used to being around these people and so used to being in their energy and their frequency and stuff that you just kind of flow in that. And it happens without even realizing it, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah, that's good. It's yeah, it's fun when like you're talking about not even realizing it because that is just that intuitiveness that you're connected without even consciously being, oh, I'm connected. Like you're
Right.
just connected. Um, and I think it happens uh, more noticeably with people who we spend a lot of time with, who we love. Like I think that happens, but I think on some level it happens with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Your energies flow and connect and influence with everyone, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It just maybe isn't quite as noticeable because we don't emphasize that part of life as much as some might.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Um, I'm going to shift gears a little bit. I'm just going to take it back a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday I did have a moment which was really great for me. Um, when I got to go and kind of be by myself, which as I was saying, I was a little exhausted from people. Um, but I got some time to myself. I went to the library, which never happens, but it was great. And sat with the Lord and did some journaling, which I also haven't done in years. Just full disclosure, just haven't done that. And got some stuff opened up from the Lord. There was one moment on Saturday at the very end of all the festivities with this weekend, where we really focused in on the Lord. And I had a leading to, and I actually followed through on that leading, and I kind of stepped into a part of who I am that I've always known is there, but I've kind of let it go dormant
Mm.
and not operated in that way for a long time. Um, but I had a real strong leading to do so, and I did it begrudgingly because sometimes it's hard to be obedient when other people are watching. You know what I mean? Um, And it opened something up with me. And
Mm.
yesterday, in my time of being still with the Lord, He really unpacked that for me. And so I'm going back a week to connecting with ourselves, and even going back 3 weeks and being still. Um, but the Lord really unlocked some stuff with me. And it was not something new. It was just like a door that I had shut on my own. And He was like, no, no, this is still part of you. And I came out of that time with Him really thinking like, all right, I'm back.
That's amazing.
I mean, it's kind of cool. It felt good.
Yeah.
And I haven't felt that way in a while. Have you had
Yeah.
any other stuff with the other weeks that have been coming out or coming up or
Um, I mean, a little bit, and I kind of mentioned this somewhat in our Discord channel. Um, but I had an appointment with Dr. Farney just for my physical health. And one of the things that I was noticing was like I was having these weird things happening in my body. And it seemed to be connected to also week 3 of connecting with myself when I did the fascia release exercises because it I would say it seemed to loosen some things that had been stuck.
hmm.
And so my emotions were a little bit off, my just feelings were a little bit off, like my body felt off. Um and so it was helpful to connect those dots because what your body does when you do those exercises is it detoxes things that are stored there. And yes, on a physical level, you're detoxing chemicals or things, but on an emotional, spiritual level, like some of those chemicals can be tied to emotions or traumas or different things. And so you really are you're really moving through not only a physical thing, but an emotional thing at the same time. And I just thought that was, yeah, that was really kind of like eye opening and powerful to me to be like, oh, like, yeah, that this month of action has actually created openness in me to be able to release some of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And the more open I am, the more I think that connection with others comes into play. And so, yes, we're wrapping up July and Action July, but I my intention is to continue with um, some of those aspects. Maybe not all of them all the time, but at least some of them, like continue moving forward with it because there was something measurable that happened throughout the whole month.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fascinating.
It is. And it just, this is what is wild to me. And I don't know, maybe it's just because there's an ebb and flow. Um, but like little adjustments. So it's not like this took a ton of time. Did this feel like it was overwhelming or like took a ton of time for you?
Um, no, I think there were a couple days when I was like, I don't want to do the like prescribed thing that I've given myself because I have other things on my plate. But it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like it's just because I didn't want to do it. It wasn't because it was really time consuming.
That's so funny. Well, I was just gonna say, I don't think that it was too horribly overwhelming. It didn't like occupy my whole life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But some small shifts have kind of brought about real trajectory shifts too. And
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And I think it's personally, I want to continue on with this stuff. I think sometimes just being aware of it, and we talk about this all the time, right? Just being aware of some of these things and paying attention, just shifting your focus for a few minutes or a few
Mm-hmm.
moments, even, um, can really help you get tuned in to some of these things and start seeing some things move. And that's really what we wanted to see. We wanted to see some movement, right?
Yeah. And I think, at least for me, that ball has started to roll.
Same. Yeah. Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to see what this may or may not bring in the
Definitely.
future with us, and maybe we'll touch back on it every now and then.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to follow up with it because my intention is to keep the ball rolling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Same. I wonder, number one, I wonder if anybody followed along with us and made any like mm, like marked effort
Mm-hmm.
in one way or another. And if they also saw anything, any shifts that happened, even small, like I don't think every shift has to be mind blowing, but I think sometimes a little spiritual chiropractic help is good.
It'd be amazing at times, right?
Just a little adjustment, kind of get you flowing again. And so anyway, I wonder if anybody who's listening has had any kind of results, any kind of shifts happen, epiphanies, any of that kind of stuff. Would love to hear about it. I did get last week, we were talking about the flow, like connecting with others, and we mentioned a friend who we tried this with a few years ago, and the phrase was purple potatoes. And I absolutely got a text from her saying purple potatoes. And
That's
I said,
amazing.
ditto.
It's amazing.
Oh yeah. So anyway, connect with us, share, let us know how it's going for you. Or if you have any other thoughts. Wow. I like lost words for a second. Any other thoughts on some of this stuff? We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to connect. Hit up the Facebook page, hit up the Discord group, not group, server. What's
Yeah,
I'm
Discord
still new to
server.
this. You guys, I'm still new to this.
But you're crushing it.
I'm absolutely crushing it every day.
So good.
Or leave a comment or connect on YouTube. Any of those things, we'd love to hear from you. And yeah, I think that's about it for today.
Amazing. All right, we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.
Thank you for sticking around. Listen for new episodes every Monday and Thursday. Find us on all social media platforms by searching for Market Mystics. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Visit upperroomcd.com where you can find more information about the hosts, projects, and guests. Go deeper by booking a coaching appointment focused on redefining identity and wealth in your life. See you next time.